Today we will talk about how to build secure microservice using Gin and JWT framework. In last session, we discussed how to build simple Go service using Gin, where we have two API endpoint, album and health check. User can access those APIs without any restriction authentication and no authorization is there. In this, we have extended that microservice. We have introduced a JWT security interceptor, which will intercept user request while hitting album APIs or health check APIs. And also there is a JWT token APIs layer. With the help of that, the first user will get a token, and after getting a token, the user can access the album and health check APIs. We have divided into two groups. There are two groups, public group and the private group. The public group where the user will access login API and get a token, and the private group, after getting a token, the user can access private group section where we have album APIs and health check API. And also there is two special API in the private group, refresh API and the logout API to manage our token. To build a microservice, a secure microservice, we are using Gin Web Framework, and there is a special feature to support JWT based authentication. We are using this one, middleware support, and you can see the documentation also, how to implement basic authorization using middleware. This is the code snippet we have, and we can also see this JWT library, Gin JWT library, which you can import into your project and Go microservice using this command. And you will need to build a basic stuff, like there are some callbacks required for the JWT authentication, and also we will need to initialize this middleware that we will see. Now we will talk about the code. In the code structure, we have three handlers here: album handler, monitoring handler, and security handler. Album handler and monitoring handler that we already covered in a last session. So in this session we will cover on very high level. Album handler we are using to perform CRUD operation for album, like store album data, get album by ID, get all the albums, three endpoint, and the part of the security group. The security group is a private security group, and you can see the CRUD operations, saving album and getting album by ID and get all the album. And we are maintaining one map also to store the or album data. And these are the two structs for the album request and for the album response. And these three endpoint part of the private security group. Coming to second handler, this is a monitoring handler to check whether service up and running / health endpoint is there. Again, this is part of private security group. Third one is security handler, where we will perform all the security operations. So in this, we have three endpoint. One is a public /login, through which we will create token, access token, and these two /refresh and /logout are used to refresh a token and log out from the token. Now before jumping to this part, security login, let's cover this web server part also. In web server, here we are creating a router instance using Gin framework, and then we are creating two security group, public and the private, as naming public group router, private group router. Private group router we are using in album and monitoring APIs to define API endpoint. And in enable JWT security, we are using both the router because we have two kind of endpoint, public and private. In JWT security handler, first we will need to initialize middleware. Gin JWT middleware instance we will need to create, and these are the bare minimum configurations. Here we will have to define the token timeout, which is 10-minute, refresh token timeout 15-minute, identity key, which is just a variable ID, payload, callback, identity handler, login authenticator, authorizer, unauthorized, logout, response. These are the callbacks. These callbacks will come into picture while requests land to the microservice, and the Gin framework will intercept the request and it will call these handlers or callbacks. For example, if we check this one, login authenticator, in a login authenticator, the username password will come. We will map with this struct login struct. With the help of this, we can map username and password, and we will need to check whether this user exists in our memory or in our system or not. For that, we have authorize user store map, and we have two user, admin and the test user, in our memory. So this way we can check whether user exists in our system or not. Same way we have implemented authorizer. This is again a callback where this callback will be called almost for all the APIs. Here again we are checking after token verification, we are checking whether user exists in our system or not. And if you check payload function, the payload function, we are just extracting the claims information. We are extracting and we are setting up the identity key, the username. Unauthorized callback. In unauthorized callback, we will get this callback when we have invalid token. Let me check this. Yes, unauthorized callback will come when we have invalid or expired token or invalid credentials. Then code flow will come here after verification. Here we are just composing a response. We are not verifying here. That will be taken care by the Gin framework. And same way we have logout response. Here, as of now, it's a very simple logic. We are just creating a response, but we are not invalidating the token. Now, invalidation of token, that we will have to take care manually. I mean, we need to write some custom logic. Okay, so these are the basic function, and this is the main part. We will need to initialize this instance, a middleware instance, and we have to define these callbacks to work JWT in proper way. And this is a high level structure. We have login request where we are mapping username and password, and this is a user struct where we are storing user information in a temporary map as a cache. This we can replace with cache or some database. Okay, and this we have covered. Now we can run the server. Yeah, server is started. You can see this, the endpoints are initialized, the public endpoints and the private endpoints. So let's see whether can we access the API or not. Let me try this. Yeah, if we are hitting this API slash private slash album, we are getting this error. Auth header is empty. We are not passing any header as of now. So we have some access token first. So we can call this API slash login with username password admin for demo purpose. Yeah, we got 200, and you can see the backend also. Here the payload callback called login authenticator called at the backend. Now we have this token. Now this token we can use to create album data. So let's create one demo album. Yeah, album is created, and this is ID. This is ID, and if we try this, right, this is the token is expired because this token is not a valid token. It's a wrong token, and you can see from the backend also the unauthorized callback called the backend. So we have to give the genuine token here. Now get API is working with specific ID, and you can see the response also. And at the back end, you can see the authorizer called, identity handler called. Okay. Same way we can call say get all albums. We can try. We have only one album as of now, so this will return the list. Now we can try some refresh APIs. Um, Suppose you want to refresh your JWT token, then you must have a valid token first. Okay. Now we'll try this one. Now error is invalid and expired refresh token. So we have replaced only access token, but we have not changed the refresh token. So we will need to use the new refresh token, which is this one. The latest refresh token we have to use. Try this now. Now you can see we got 200, and we got a new access token, new refresh token we got. Okay, same way we can call logout API also. So if you call this one, you will get this kind of response: logout username and the message and the user info. And from the back end, you can see the user logout callback called. Yeah, so this is the basic demo. So you can see with the help of JWT, we can secure Go microservice, and we can define security groups like this way, public and private, and through security group we can protect our endpoints. Yeah, I think that's all for now. And for the album handler and monitoring handler, I have already created a video. I will throw a link in a description. You can check. You can check how to create basic microservice using Go and Gin. You will see all the detail there.